At a few points in the agency's history, it has been really defined more significantly in terms of its relationship to an ongoing war, its role in a war effort. And of course, we're witnessing the gradual drawdown of that role for USAID in Afghanistan today. What can we learn about the different stances that administrators at USAID have taken to position the agency in terms of its support or not for a U.S. military engagement?
Well, if you look at the really big conflicts where AID has had a major presence, and we've tried really to use development programs as along the tip of the spear, along with diplomacy and military force. You look at Iraq, you look at Afghanistan, you certainly look at Vietnam, and by and large, they have been very substantial and very expensive failures. But those are issues that aid administrators can't say no to. So you try to manage it as best you can. Because the nature of development is so poorly understood in AID's sister institutions, they always think that you should just be able to go in, build schools, stand things up, get things done, like the Seabees, this kind of can-do environment. And I think again and again in Iraq and Afghanistan in recent years, we saw a very frustrated Pentagon that was fed up with what they viewed as the slow pace of activities from AID, saying, well, we can go in and we'll build a school and we'll build a hospital. And then 18 months later, the school or hospital's falling apart because they didn't take the time to ask, well, was there a hospital here before? Are there nurses? Do you charge fees? Will you use it? Is this your highest priority in the community? How does this link to municipal spending? How does this link to provincial spending? So I think AID has tried best to survive conflicts in its own way, knowing they can't really say no. But I think it's really been an issue they've struggled with again and again. It's almost as if AID and development experts and NGOs and contractors approach the issue with a split brain. They say, you know, the work in Afghanistan and Iraq and earlier in Vietnam, that doesn't count because it's big money stuff. We know a lot of it was wasted, but we're forced to do that. If you really want to see how we do our stuff, you should look at these stable, low-income countries. We've had time to work it out. There's a decent government in place. We build institutions. That's real development. But by the same token, AID tends to be hoisted on the petard of, well, you spent X billion dollars in Iraq or X billion dollars in Afghanistan or earlier in Vietnam. What did you accomplish for that? And those are the juicy stories that reporters find and inspector generals find. You know, and I think that it's fair to ask, is that money being spent wisely? And I think particularly in Iraq and Afghanistan, AID had really gone into both of those conflicts as a hollowed out agency. It had been through a very difficult period in the 1990s. Operating expenses have been cut. There had been a reduction in force. Staff have been laid off. They were very, very ill positioned to be flexible, forward-leaning, responsive in an environment that is very, very difficult to work in.